Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are in this world. This is Hedging Lee with a morning update for Bitcoin. So looking at this chart with the hedging bands, I explained yesterday the 2, 3, 4, 5 standard deviation bands and how it can tell you how wacky or extreme price action could be. So to this end, we know that this trend line has now been decisively been broken. It has also gone below the median line band, and likely it'll go towards the 2 standard deviation or -2 standard deviations. This is -2, 3, 4, -5 standard deviation. So basically you're looking at a bell curve. Okay? So to see this, how it pinched right here, see how it's pinching? Whenever you see the Bollinger Bands pinching, you're going to say, whoa, be on alert, because they're going to suddenly expand. And clearly they expanded. And what happens after they expand? After they expand, then you're going to pinch again, like this. And it may take a while. And during this pinching process where the Bollinger Bands or standard deviation bands pinch towards the median, in this case, price could then make a trajectory to maybe the 14, 13K before rising again. Okay? And what will we do? Very simple. Using again the trend line charts, I'll simply draw a trend line like this. Okay? And that trend line will say, if and when price breaks this trend line to the upside, not here, not here, even though it's close, but only if and when it actually breaks to the upside, I'm going to buy and go long again. That will be the tactic to utilize within the trend line strategy. The upside break here will say buy now, and we'll write it up. Now this is not perfect. You sometimes get fake outs, okay? And sometimes you might get a long fake out where it goes up and then comes back down again. Variations of fake outs. But still, this prevents you from getting in here, only to see lower lows from a more probabilistic scenario. By using the confirmation of the trend lines, it gives you a de-risking profile that's greater than just shooting from the hips. And the value of this technique is exactly that. It keeps you, or rather it de-risks as much as possible. And you can further de-risk, let's say, using Elliott waves, Bollinger Bands, MACD, whatever combination you'd like. But in this case, a central, focal, strategic process, okay, will be the trend line technique. So easy, so visually simple. It will keep you out of trouble quite often. So this downside break, for example, took us out. And I believe the price will go further down. Now people are saying, well, why aren't you shorting it right after it breaks? You could, but I'm human. I don't know about you, but right after I get out a long position, mentally, emotionally, I just can't robotically switch. Now I'm going to see if I can work on a bot programming to enable exactly that, but it's pretty difficult, okay, to have the bot itself draw a trend line, so to speak. But that's a long project in the thought experiment process. Anyways, the key point here is that we have a trend change from this intermediate up, and now we're going to get a correction. Okay. The three potential scenarios we can look at. I think the purple is the least likely right now. Most likely is probably the white. And if we go down below 14K, it'll then be the blue. Again, visually very simple. But what do we have? Right here back back in 2019, we had a trend change. We have another trend change right here. Now, so you could have called this a fake out right here. Broke it down, came back to the upside and broke it down, came back close. It would have driven you mad. Okay? So let's say you exited. You entered. Exit again. Okay, made a small profit. And here, would you have entered? No. It didn't break to the upside. That is the difficulty from the emotional, psychological, and discipline perspective. To not jump the gun in this technique. But it isn't that difficult. And the way you utilize or get to that state is start small. Small amount of money. Positioning size being small, so it doesn't wreak havoc mentally on you. Or even paper trade, but that's very different. And by practicing this, and when you see this kind of instance right here when it's just about to cross, step back and say, what am I feeling? What are my feelings? What are my thoughts? I see how this can be almost stepped aside and just looked upon from a 30,000 view perspective on how you feel and thought and how you think during these times of really close moments. And that's when you really start developing that emotional, you make adhere your emotional and mental states to the strategic process that you currently that I'm presenting. That you don't have to do it exactly the way I do it. Remember, the value proposition of hedging.com is not for you to do it exactly the way I do it, but for you to take the parts and pieces of what I do and assemble a process and an established set of tactics that work for you. That's the value proposition of what I'm offering. So here we had a trend change. We have another trend change. We may get a fake out. We may come back up just like this purple, and then it might be a combination of purple and white, come back up inside and then come back down again and drive someone bonkers. But if you knew, or rather if you are aware of those potential and have the experience of dealing with those scenarios, the difficulty level clearly declines. Now here, XRP, it has broken deep into the other side of this resistance line. It also gave an inverse head and shoulders confirmation. Okay, volume busted to the upside, so great, and it is doing now a correction. Okay, however, I just posted earlier this morning this chart, short-term chart, okay, of another head and shoulders, but in this case head and shoulders top. Now this is not complete. It has to complete, so price has to finish the right shoulder, come back down to the neckline, and then actually break the neckline. If we measure then the distance travel that it can have potentially, is 10 cents. This is also left leaning head and shoulders top, which is quite often the most dangerous type. Volume also so far is confirming. We have a left shoulder, head, and probably lower right shoulder. So keep this into awareness. I think awareness keeps the panic away. The important thing is in Bitcoin short term, we don't see the head and shoulders. Okay? The head and shoulders is not present just like what we saw. So it could be a bit of a deviation, digression divergence, whatever you call it. But still, let's keep it into awareness and not forget about it. Okay, so from an early wave perspective for Bitcoin, we could be having a potential expanded flat, because Bitcoin loves expanded flats, where we have A, 3-wave structure, 3-wave structure for B, and then we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, this here is higher, so this has to be the B right here. Okay, and that means we are looking at the potential of this being an A, B, C, and this looks like a wave 4 where we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe the 14, 15K would be the potential. This could also generate a triangle of this type and go like this, or I could do a clean and cut crisp ABC of this type, and then give this many 36 different possible combinations at every juncture. And that target of 14K or so would jive still with the Bollinger Band's assessment that we had. All right, I hope you find this to be helpful. Have a good one.